Hello everyone, welcome back to a new replay cast. Today we're going to be having a look at, in the top right spawning as the red Zerg player is going to be SoO, and in the bottom left spawning as the blue Protoss player is going to be Ptitdrogo. Wow. You see first pylon coming down here for Drogo, who's opting to not go for any kind of blocking. Gas first. Means that the Protoss player won't scout. I explained this before, but for the people who haven't heard it before, is the reason why gas first is so good is because you see that first probe was immediately to start mining gas, immediately able to start mining gas the moment you get any kind of oversaturation on your mineral line. So if you're not scouting, you have that extra probe, which means your main mineral line will be oversaturated faster, and thus having such an early gas is extremely helpful and helps for the most efficient mining that you can possibly get. This means that you have slightly more gas than you'd usually have, similar amounts of minerals, but slightly more gas, which is very helpful if you are playing some kind of Stargate opener. Well, any kind of opener really, but it's most commonly used when you open Stargate. Because you'll see once this core finishes, Drogo will be having about 150 or 160 gas, so he can get an adept and then immediately a Stargate extremely quickly. Very strong opener. Now, we call this a no scout because you die against 12 pool. Like, there's nothing you can do. So even though he's still scouting after Cybercore, they still be considered a no scout or a late scout or a core scout, something like that. Sometimes you also see Protoss players not scout at all with a probe afterwards, but the reason you still scout, you might be like, why would he scout? He's gonna die against the 12 pool anyway. It's because you want to see the path of the initial links. So there's always gonna be some links. You want to see, hey, where are they going? Are they going across the map? You also want to check if there's a third base. Well, you can also see if there's a natural in general. And if it's some kind of proxy hatch, that's also nice to know. Because you can actually hold proxy hatches without scouting before core. So it's it's interesting. We actually see a Twilight Council here. So this is most likely going to be DT drop. Now the reason I say DT drop is because I know Drogo, and he's not much of a Glaive Adept player, I believe. And usually you see Glaive Adept with natural blocks as well. So instead we're going to be seeing, I believe, a DT drop. There's no third base yet here for SoO. Huh. Instead opting to go for 4 queens. Second gas already. Did he get any kills? He got 1 kill. Is that a ling or a drone? No, it was a worker. Kill a worker, that's nice. Drogo's going to be a little bit confused here, honestly. We see a massive supply block here for SoO. What the hell? Look at this. 44 out of 44. I don't think this is normal. He's building 2 overlords now. He's gonna get a third base, right? It's kind of what you're expecting. No link speed either. He's playing 2 base Roach, I think. 2 base Muta? No, that makes no sense. Oh, he can build a Roach Warren here. Jesus. This is poorly done by him. He wants to block off this area, obviously. He's gonna kill this after he gets this, I think. He should have just waited with the Roach Warren. We see Evo Chamber, extra gas is going on, so up to 3 gas. Yeah, this is 3 base Roach. If it was 2 base Mira, we'd see a 4th gas. We might still see the Roach Warren, but I think we wouldn't see the Evo Chamber either, so it's kind of interesting, honestly. I wonder what this is good against. I really do wonder. The Roach Warren is a little bit late. I actually think he would die against almost everything that can come out of Drogo. Imagine if this was the Glaive Adept build. There would be 0 units to deal with 8 Glaive Adepts at this point, because the Warpin would be done at 430. He's playing super risky. You see 4 DTs moving in. Is there an Overseer? Overseer is on the way, but on the wrong side of the map. I feel like SoO is not prepared for anything. He's gonna lose his 3rd hatchery here as well. Oh no, wait, there is an Overseer here, so oops. Never mind, SoO was prepared for the DT drop. 3rd base going down for Drogo, who is down 1 worker. That's kind of good. Usually you're gonna be down 7 workers when you play DT drop. 2 Archons morphing right now, Roach Speed is on the way, +1 is about halfway done as well. So Archon takes a bit of a beating, which is annoying. But now these roaches are taking a bit of a beating, which is annoying for SoO. We'll end up losing 2-3 roaches, I think, here. Yeah, 3 roaches go down. Loses some HP on these Archons. Now what the Archons are gonna do, they're gonna pull the army of SoO either towards the creep or into the main, and then this DT will head into the third base and start slashing drones. Now we have 8 more drones on the way. We have a forge here for a Drogo. Are we seeing any kind of Spire? No Spire yet. Hydra then instead. Usually you do see a Spire against this kind of Archon drop, but I guess because he opened 2-base roach, that's not the case. Now this is exactly what I was talking about, that Drogo wanted to do. So he pulls his opponent's entire army to the other side of the map and then just moves in with that 1 DT. There's just a single overseer, right? Okay, there's 1 overseer over here as well. So we got ourselves 2 overseers. CT's gonna get maybe 2-3 workers. Seems like only 2 for now. And then this overseer will come in and save the day. I mean, pulling away workers still is a little costly as well, right? Overlord falls here. Tumor is about to die. Doesn't quite. Drogo decides to let it live. Straight storm, wow. That's very ballsy. Especially if you're opening charge as well. Means you're gonna have a very rough time if you do end up playing against Spire. But he did scout the Hydra then, so he's relatively safe. Going in a pretty cool way there with his prism. We'll get to clean a lot of the creep with these 2 Archons. We see +1 and charge. Battery is being built as well. Gas being taken at this point, and I actually kind of like this position here for Drogo, honestly. He has a decent gateway count. He's what, on 4, he's on 6 right now. He's adding a couple more, going up to 8. He's getting Storm, he's getting +1. He's gonna be down in upgrades, but this 4th base is so late for SoO. It's actually painful to look at. SoO is down in workers as well. Like, SoO's actually just doing a 60 drone all-in. 61 drone all-in with +2 or something like that. I haven't seen this ever, honestly. This seems like a very interesting build, but I'm not quite sure what it's great against, but I'm sure we're gonna see. 4th base on the way, Lurker then. 9 more drones. I mean, he's still down 10 workers. How many storms do we already have? We have 3 storms. 3 storms available. We have 3 more Templar on the way, so it's going to be 6 storms. I'm not sure if Drogo needs to be on the map at this point. I have a feeling he might not need to be on the map. He's going to be taking a 4th base here. +2, 5 immortal already. Jeez. That's a massive immortal count. Gonna be able to really blast those roaches. Roach, of course, getting 3 shot. Oh wow, good eyes here by SoO, who managed to spot this DT. Never mind, they had an overseer. No good eyes, just good medium at attention. Drogo pushing into this. I'm not a big fan of this. I'm not a big fan of this, but he is doing it. Couple of good force fields going down. Perhaps he can get a cancel on this 4th base. Where's the prism? Prism is in the back. Decent storms coming down as well from the sky. +2 is about to finish here for SoO, who has a pretty sizable army, and yeah, Drogo is just kind of getting slaughtered. So he is trading, actually. He's trading. The problem with Protoss, if you're trading against someone that's playing Roach Hydra, is that if you don't kill your opponent, you're losing all your big and important units. Like your Immortals, like your Archons, like your Storms, which are difficult to replace. And Roaches and Hydras are really easy to replace, so... you see Drogo actually getting blocked a bit by these changelings as well, which is kind of annoying. Roach is doing a good job with +2 upgrades. Hydras and Queens in the back dealing out quite some damage as well over here. It seems like Drogo is just going to be getting pushed back as he tries to retreat at this point. And this is why I was like, I don't feel like he needs to attack into this, because the army that SoO has is pretty much an all-in army. Loses another Immortal as well. 4th base will be killed, or maybe Drogo managed to save it. I doubt it. We see 4 more Templars being warped in, and with the Immortal count resetting a little bit here, I think SoO's gonna be pretty happy. Still, SoO's not out of the woods yet. I mean, he's in a pretty crap eco with terrible units on a map where it's difficult to attack. So I'm curious to see what SoO is gonna do. There's no hive on the way, no follow-up upgrade, there's no carapace being researched, so the longer this game goes, still, it's gonna be better for Drogo, who is... The Protoss army on tier 2 like this is just better than the Zerg army, right? The bigger your army gets, the better it will be for the Protoss. I mean, if you have 200 supply of Immortal, Archon, Storm, you're just gonna beat Roach Hydra. Now, I do like this drop a lot. I think this is a very good call. Archons, of course, won't be able to walk through here. We see a split of the army by Drogo. It's gonna be a little bit late though. 7 workers have gone down somewhere. I'm not sure where these workers have gone down off SoO, but a couple of DPs coming in to actually save this base. This trade wasn't that bad here, honestly, for Drogo. Managed to clean this up at least. SoO all of a sudden is only up, what, 10-15 supply. Even in upgrades, he's getting 6 lurkers. Is there observers on the map? That's the real question. Yeah, no, there's not. But there's one on the way. +3 is on the way as well. We have this drop trying to take out this pylon. There's nothing in the main left. Actually surprised me a little bit. Drogo's DT is not going to get spotted by SoO, I guess. Oh. These two are not getting spotted either. Wow. And these guys living dangerous. What the hell? 007 and 008 over here. You see a spine coming up, but this DT will be able to slash away some drones. This DT will be going for some drones as well. There's only a single overseer in between those two bases. So, I assume this is pretty good for Drogo. Look at these lurkers, they're just all by themselves. There's no way this is good. There's no way this is good. A lot of the lurkers are just going to be going down for free here. SoO just sacrificing lurkers here to the Protoss gods. Well, in this case, just the Protoss god. Ptitdrogo. A couple more Hydras being rallied in. SoO is playing a very odd style. He's down in workers at this point. He's getting link speed. He has no upgrades for melee, so I wonder what he's going to be doing with that. I mean, once +3 finishes, which is going to be rough. I love it. He loses the Templar Archives because it was in a terrible position, and then he rebuilds it in another terrible position. This is peak Protoss performance here. This is the kind of stuff I love to see. Especially when it's not in my own games. Now, we have 7 more lurkers on the way. We have a big drop once again heading into this, well, natural, I guess it is. Or for now, it's going to be the main base. A couple of stalkers being warped in. That seems like a ballsy warp. And holy crap, big recall coming in. Perhaps, what? Big recall, 4 units. Should actually be fine here. If these zealots come in, there's a couple of immortals. And we do have a bunch of lurkers here. A literal couple harassing this 4th base of Drogo. Still have some Roach and Hydras being annoying here. At the front, these Archons that try to get into the main base, but instead we're chilling out here because they can't fit through this tiny hole. So they're too massive. Still 1 lurker alive. Is gonna pick up a lot more workers. There's a lot of multitask going on here by SoO, who is attacking 2 angles basically, and then he has some harass over at the 4th base, which is doing some fine damage. Good storms coming out of Drogo, but a lot of the Templar will end up paying for these storms with their life. 2.4k in the bank for SoO, man. It's crazy how many resources SoO managed to save up while being on only 70 workers. Or even less majority of the time. He has no gas whatsoever. Even though he's on 8 gas, he's having a really rough time. I can't believe this is dying. He can still use the battery to heal, but loses the 4th base to a single lurker. This is the saddest tale that I've seen. 3 overlords over here. There's still... How many kills does he have? 10 kills. And one of those kills is a Nexus. He's gonna be riding one hell of a letter home. I've been stationed in the same spot for a couple of minutes now. Wow. I've seen many people die and I've taken out a massive structure all by myself. I'm afraid they might find out I'm here, but so far I'm still safe, as the Protoss seem to have abandoned this location. He's gonna get all of this. 16 kills. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh. Shot over the ridge. We're not sure if he survived. I think he survived. That would make me happy. See some nice maneuvers here by SoO, trying to get his opponent out of position. Pretty decent fight. Like all of these traits, they're not brilliant, but they're traits, you know, and they're kind of even traits, which is nice. Being SoO, another cancel on the forward base. This army here is in an awkward spot. Drogo in general is in a really awkward spot. Well, this is a good engagement though for him. I think a lot of SoO's army is gonna end up falling here once again. A lot of the Templar do die as well, but I don't know, I feel like Drogo continuously just has a way better army. Like, just way better, but he just has way less as well. So it's like, well, like, who's winning here? I'm not quite sure. I still think SoO is the one winning here. Just absolutely whiffs and hits nothing. There's no prison here to save this Immortal. Another Templar goes down. These Archons could get shot down as well. Is there storms here? I don't think there is. Another Archon goes down. Second Archon survives. Wow, Mitro baby. Queen's moving forward. 1300 minerals in the bank here for SoO, who is... I'm not quite sure what he's doing. We see a lot of DTs being sent in now. I like this. I like this move a lot. We see 3 DTs in total, 1 in every base. Look at this guy. He's not quite sure what to do. Here we go. Starts attacking some drones. So there's gonna be like 14, 15 drones going down here. SoO doesn't really respond to it. Actually gonna be getting 20 drones. Wow. And he doesn't have that... Well, he has a lot of larvae. Why is he not spending his money? He has 11 larvae. He has plenty of supply left over. He has 900 in the bank. Still has 13 larvae left over. He's gonna get 9 workers again. Finished his spine upgrade for these lurkers. So has now +2 range. Adaptive talents is on the way as well. Ooh, a lurker drop. We haven't seen one of those in a while. It's such a rough time with all this harass. Ooh, do you see that? He spotted the DT and picked up. That's really cool. I like that. I do like it. We don't have a single Immortal on the map, which obviously is a problem if your opponent's army consists of lurkers and roaches. Immortals are pretty much the bread and butter against that. Lurker does end up falling here, but this also lurker to pull out the army out of position, and it worked beautifully. We now see lurkers moving into position. Good spread of the army here for Drogo, but the supply is so little. He's such a tiny, tiny army. Good storms though. So dancing in the rain, dancing in the storm. This 1DT is slashing away as well. If he could snipe this Overseer, that would be good. Does manage to snipe the Overseer. 4DT is coming in handy here. And there's no detection. But SoO realized that, as there's an Overseer now gonna be joining up the main army. This was a very good fight here for Drogo, who is up in income at this point. He has very close in supply. 5th base. We could get a 5th base. I think he's on the way for a 5th base. Definitely. 58 workers here for SoO. The only thing Drogo really needs to do is not die. And I mean, he's been not dying for about 7 minutes now. Every time being down 60 supply. Now he's only down 30 supply. He has equal income. He still has... He's up an upgrade. And he's getting a 5th base. So I kind of like this. I'm not a big fan of this double-sided run-by though. I feel like the DT run-bys are really good to go to your opponent's base unspotted. There's only a single Overseer on the map still. Oh, Drogo does need to be careful. Does end up getting one. No. Doesn't get a single free lurker here. Get this one. Okay, so get some free units, but this is not quite the value you want. You want slightly higher value out of those units. Decent storms landing. Is there one more storm? No, there's not. 4 energy required still. There we go. Good storm hitting. As we turn both of these Templar pairs into Archons. SoO just pushing with everything, really throwing everything in the kitchen sink at it at this point. 4 queens being there as well for some transfuses, some extra DPS, perhaps sniping the Observer with that infinite range on the anti-air attack. 4th base is being given up here by Drogo. It's like, alright, that's fine, I still have a 5th, but I don't think that's quite how it works, because he's not mining too much from his 3rd anymore either. He's really gonna need this 4th base. He's half the supply of his opponent. He's 1/4 the army supply. Well, 1/3 maybe. Would be more accurate. Drogo in a lot of trouble now, and every time it feels like a fight is going well for him, I just look at the supply and I think, huh, supply looks pretty decent for SoO. That's the thing with remaxing with rogues. They're really cheap, they're kind of supply intensive, and they do pretty well as long as there's no Archons. Or no Immortals. As now the 5th base is under attack, which is now the 4th base. And Drogo does need to go and save it, but I just don't think he can with his army. There's only 2 Archons left, plus 3 has finished for SoO as well. Drogo is gonna try his best to save it. No, he's not. He knows now that this game is over. 1DT has been going pretty ham here. Has what, 11 kills? So 41 workers against 44, but there's 0 income currently for Drogo, and there's still 1600 coming in for SoO, who's still on decent 2-base eco. Drogo is going to need to push out on the map, but he can't even afford this harass anymore. Like that's a big portion of his army, you know. It's important to keep. Is there any other units? Sometimes you leave some units in the main base, but yeah, 3 zealots will be going into this base. SoO will just be able to run away, obviously. Its units are there, it doesn't even need to run away. It's gonna lose 2 workers and it's gonna kill 3 zealots for it, which is not the greatest of trades. I'm not quite sure why SoO decides to not finish the game yet. He's just chilling. Making sure he's as far ahead as he believes he is. Might just max out and then move across the map. There's a couple of Ravagers in this army as well. I'm not quite sure why, but just added them for fun, I guess. Have a slightly more sophisticated and more diverse army. See 6 more drones on the way. Nexus coming down here for Drogo, who is struggling to break the 80 supply mark. 23 army supply against 124. I know wish SoO just would attack, honestly. I mean, not quite sure why he's not. 3 more Larkers are on the way. Storms are being retrieved. GG gets called. Rogue's like, alright, if you're not gonna do it, I'll just end it myself. Calls the GG as he loses this game against SoO. So yeah, it's gonna be a pretty nice game. I think Drogo might have been slightly over-aggressive there when hitting that 4th base initially, which kind of snowballed the game in SoO's favor. But even after that, I feel like Drogo had some good opportunities to take decent fights, and I think just slightly over-aggressive. Immortal count perhaps a little too low. It's the way of the world. Good DT harass though, very good DT harass. Really did a lot of damage this game. I think 68 workers killed here for Drogo. And only 63 for SoO. Also still a lot, of course. The 1 lurker that sent the letter back to his mom was a big part of that. Now, if you did like this video, don't forget to subscribe. It helps me a lot. Don't forget to hit the like button. That helps me even more. And I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.